Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Sexual Peekaboo. As our regularly scheduled show, our guest was unavailable once again. So tonight we're bringing you another special edition where you get to learn more about me and Danny,
Yay!
whether you want to or not.
Yeah, so basically we're going to talk about our childhood to adulthood and everything. So basically we're going to talk about that. So no audio.
I think that was when I put the
Oh,
there wasn't anything with that. Can you guys hear everything now?
oh my goodness. Pump Tower's like he's like I just read that this like I need a water bottle. Oh my goodness. So basically, Dewey and I are going to talk about our lives and everything and like get to know each other and everything, and because people get to know us and everything, because we're going to talk about like our first memory to all that stuff. So, oh my goodness. I'm Travis like, hi Sean, behave or I'll spank you. No, you can't spank Larry. I'm the one who can spank anything. So, oh geez, now they're going at it and anything. Anyways, so let's see here. Let's dive in. You're older than I am, Mr. Dewey, and anything.
Yeah,
so,
just a little bit.
by like what, 25 years?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah,
25 years in a couple months.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, it's like crazy, huh? But it's like because it's different, you know. It's like everyone had lead a, like I was talking to Dewey earlier today. We were like, we had to figure out something. So like I feel like I'm saying, yeah, I feel like I'm 70. Yeah, I agree.
You got enough health problems to be 70.
Yeah, or 80. I feel like right now I feel 80. But anyways, so I was trying to come up with an idea and anything last minute and anything. I'm like, Dewey, we should talk about ourselves and show our pictures of us when we were kids to adult and everything, how we lived and how people understand like about us, you know, like so they can actually, the audience can ask us questions like how did we handle ourselves, you know, because everyone has a different childhood in their life, you know. So
that's true. That is true.
now, Dewey, did you like with your childhood and everything? Like, did you have a good childhood or did you have a rough childhood?
I basically had a very good childhood. My parents they were good parents. They weren't the best couple. I mean, they got divorced by the time I was 13, but mom was always a stay-at-home mom until they got divorced. Dad, he drank a lot, but he did have. He was always a provider. We always had food on the table, clothes on our back, and we were never lacking for anything. He wasn't a very involved father. I mean, most kids are always talking about going fishing and camping and all that kind of stuff with their dad. And my dad was somebody that I think the only time we went camping, he came to a father-son Boy Scout camp out, and he showed up drunk, and he was the joke of the whole camp out. And most time when he did something with us, like when he'd take us to the movies, we'd go sleep at the other side of the theater because he would usually fall asleep and snore.
Oh,
and
wow.
My dad wasn't the best role model, but he always provided. At least, he may have been a drunk, but he always made sure the bills were paid and we had a place to live and food and all that kind of stuff. So, but mom was a wonderful mother. She was, like I said, she was stay at home until they divorced. And then she worked from home until we moved to Illinois. She didn't work outside of the home until we moved to Illinois, and that was just a block away. So she was always around for us. She was a very involved mother. She did a lot with us. She wasn't the kind that spent a lot of time in the kitchen. Her idea of cooking dinner was heating up a TV dinner or a pot pie or something quick and easy. She spent most of the time doing things with us. Our house was the neighborhood house to be at because something was always happening. And, if we were playing, she would often be doing it, playing with us. especially if we were playing ball or something. She was a good one for playing things with us, or at least being there for us. And we at the time we probably thought we had a rough childhood for all kinds of numerous reasons. But as you grow up and you look back, it's like I feel very blessed that I had the childhood that I had. So she was very, very good and supportive. And the only time we didn't get along, I think, is when we moved to Illinois, because I was so upset. I didn't want to leave Indianapolis for nothing. We had moved so much while I was growing up, because my mom and my dad worked for the airline, so we got transferred a lot. So in 12 years of school, I went to 9 different schools in 3 different states. And the 3 years of high school, we're in 3 different high schools in 2 different states, or 4 years of high school. So I was never established anywhere. Every time Indianapolis was the closest I came to being established and having a circle of friends, and then we up and moved on the spur of the moment. Matter of fact, we had less than 12 hours notice when we moved.
Oh, wow.
My mom had met this jerk of a guy that she eventually married, and he did mobile homework. And he and mom and my brother and sister were all in Illinois working for a friend of his. And I stayed home because I had a paper route. My brother had a paper route, so I took care of both of our paper routes. Well, one night about 8 o'clock, it was a Saturday night, 8 o'clock at night, mom calls and says, collect all the money you have coming to you. We're moving to Illinois tomorrow. And it's like, what? No advance. I mean, there was no talk of this at all until they went there that weekend, and suddenly that they made that decision. So I tried to call my dad to get him to stop it somehow. Well, it was a week later before I could finally even get a hold of him, which by then, of course, we were already in Illinois. And then I spent like the whole next year conspiring with him to get custody of us so we could be moved back to Indianapolis. Well, just before that happened, I had a nice talk with mom, and we realized that wouldn't have been the smart thing to do. And I let them know how unhappy I was in Illinois. And so we continued life from there. And now I'm glad, because if we'd have stayed with my dad, who knows what I'd have turned out to be.
Like a hellion or something.
Oh, I'd have probably been in trouble, in jail or something, because the best thing I can think of that my dad ever taught me was how to shoplift. Believe it or not, after my parents got divorced, when we would go stay with dad and we'd go to the store and we'd ask him if we could have some candy, he'd say, "Oh, just stick it in your pocket."
Oh, wow.
When there was a little market near where he lived, and when he sent us to the store, whatever we could steal, we got to keep the money he gave us. So the more we could steal, the less we had to pay for it. So I actually got caught shoplifting near our house one time. Nothing big. I think I was stealing a 45 record. So I had the money to pay for it, but that when they catch you, they don't care about that. And of course, they called mom, and she came over, and she was just in tears. She was so hurt and embarrassed. And when we got home, I was supposed to go see my dad that weekend. And she said, "Well, look, the other kids can go, but you have to stay home. That's your punishment. And then when you see your father, you got to tell him what you did wrong." Well, I thought, well, shoot, I'm off the hook there, because I knew exactly what he'd say. And sure enough, as soon as I told him, he says, "How many times have I told you, don't get caught?" And that was all he had to say about the whole matter.
And how old were you?
14 at the time?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if my dad had gotten custody of us, we'd have probably all turned out to be hellions.
I would have been jailbirds.
With all kinds of stuff.
That's crazy.
I'm glad that we ended up staying with my mom. So didn't really like my dad, but oh well.
How old were you when you were when you moved to Illinois?
14.
Okay.
Well, 15. Yeah, we were. It was the summer I turned 15, and so I was 14 when we moved, because I was a sophomore in high school, and then after that year we moved again about 60 miles away to the place we finally pretty much landed for most of our lives, and And I turned 16 that summer because I remember I had to fight forever to get my driver's license. Most kids go get their driver's license right away. Well, I turned 16 in July, and come October, I still didn't have my driver's license because Mom, her idea was, well, there's no hurry for it. I've already got a car. I mean, I bought my uncle's old car, so I already had a car. I just couldn't go anywhere in it.
You just got to get a license.
Finally, about early October, I told her she owed me $17, and she says, "Why?" And I said, "Because my beginner's permit's about to expire, and I'm not paying for another one because it's your fault I don't have a license." She let me go get my license the next day.
Nice. Well, that's a good thing.
And I don't know why she didn't think I needed a license. We were constantly chasing all over the county trying to find my stepdad because instead of working, he'd be hanging out in a bar. So how many kids my age knew every bar in a 2-county area?
I just got complimented. Amanda said to me, like, I like my background. All thanks to sexy buns. Yeah. Like, actually, there's 3 of them, but one's in the crotch. But I can't do the crotch one. I'm just kidding. There's like, I don't know if I could show that one. There we go. That's a massive.
There you go.
Anything, but yeah. It's like, put some oil on them. It'd be good. Anyways, thanks, Amanda. Yes, it's a good. It was the last spare moment. I was like, hey, you know what? Some bare ass tonight, and anything. Spank it. Yeah, spank it. Like
so, how was your life growing up?
My life was interesting because mine was rough and everything because my mom, the sad part is and everything because my mom basically would take when I remember the first early childhood, I would move every 2 years. Like I would leave every 2 years because I would go figure out why we couldn't figure out. My mom had left my stepdad every 2 years in the summer. It was beginning of the summer. We were gone in the summer. Like I remember the age 7, we moved to Arizona. We started at the beginning, the summer, and then by the time fall comes around, like it was like we moved to Arizona. Then I didn't want to leave my grandma because I was at my mom basically stayed with my grandparents and everything, and I was 7 years old, and then it was just like we just basically moved every 2 years. Like we didn't move, but we basically it was this we traveled, and it was just crazy because it was just nonsense and everything. My mom would just leave my stepdad every 2 years and everything, and it was just crazy from the age I remember 7 until I was like 12 years old, and then it was just crazy, and then my mom just couldn't handle it anymore, and then she finally she met an asshole who was just very, very mean to me because I was I want to ask is like, did I have a rough childhood? Yes, I did. And everything. I got abused, physical and verbal, and everything. I have scars. I was ashamed of my scars for a long time. I was not myself for a long time because I couldn't figure out why I was ashamed of those scars. Now I don't care anymore because those scars are who I am.
Yeah.
The man who did it to me, it was very mean. He was just, it was just crazy. Whoa, yes, I agree. Whoa, yeah. It was
Hey, Ronnie, glad to see you. Welcome to the
Hi, Ron. So we had a rough, we would basically leave, and my mom would go into shelters, like women's shelters and everything. I remember the time I was in Iowa, it was my mom's car wouldn't work anymore. It was bad and everything. It was like dead ass winter and everything. It was just horrible. We just couldn't figure out why we couldn't, because we had to ask a person to get us a ride because my mom was so nervous because she didn't want her husband to find her and everything. And we went to the mall and everything. My mom would shoplift and everything. My mom would shoplift everything.
That doesn't surprise me with your mom.
Yeah. So my mom had taught us how to shoplift and everything. And it was funny because I remember when I was younger, I think I was 6 years old and everything. We went to Target because when we left at 6 years old, we would basically go to Target and everything. My mom bought new shoes, but guess what happened? We didn't buy them and anything. We just walked out on them and everything. So, I think Ronnie's. Oh, that's funny. Anyways, so my mom said, "Oh, don't say anything and anything." So we would buy shoes. I was excited and everything because we got new shoes because we never got new shoes ever and everything. So my mom would like steal them out of the Target and everything, and she would just put our old shoes into the shoe boxes. And I remember my shoes were Aladdin shoes. They were like slip on and everything, and they were cool. They were purple and everything. I was so excited and everything. And it was just awesome. My brother, he didn't know what to understand and anything, and he screamed. And then my younger brother, he would just like, he was just young and everything. He was like, I think he was like 5, or no, he was 3 years old and anything. He didn't know what he was thinking and anything, and he was running around. And so my mom was like, just be quiet and just walk out with the shoes and everything. And we did. There was no tags or nothing. My mom would take the tags, and I remember this. My mom would always look at the cameras and anything, and she would snatch the like the thing. So it was crazy. And so my mom would just take off, and then we were living in shelters. I remember like I lived in shelters, like women's shelters, for like pretty much not all my life, but it was just, your story is breaking my heart, Danny. Oh, thanks, Larry. It was just because my mom was so scared of my stepdad, because my stepdad would make bad choices and everything. He would threaten my mom.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he would threaten my mom, because I remember one time my mom and stepdad were fighting so bad and everything, and then my stepdad had a gun to her head and said, "If you ever leave me again, I will kill you."
Yeah, my stepdad wasn't that bad. He was bad. He was drunk, and they argued a lot, but he was never physically abusive that we know of. Because anytime he would stand up and look like he was even thinking of it, my brother and I would stand up, and we were both bigger than him, and he always thought twice about it. So mom never admitted that he was physical with her, but he was very verbally abusive. And
yeah, he was always, he never, like the only thing my stepdad, he never laid a hand on my mom. He would just he would yell at her and scream at her and everything, but he would never but he threatened her. Like I remember the gun, like he would actually, I remember and everything, and I remember that it was like at 2:00 in the morning and everything. My mom and him were fighting like cats and dogs and everything. She's just getting back from us, and she's like, "If you ever leave me again, Linda, I will kill the kids, and I'll kill you first you, and then the kids." Because my stepdad would just because he would threaten my mom and everything, and my mom would never do anything and everything. It was just bad and everything. It was just because my dad made bad choices, and so my mom just made bad decisions in life,
Mm-hmm.
Danny, you are getting a big hug when we meet. Okay, that sounds great, Larry. Thanks, Larry. So it was hard and everything to see, you see it when you get traumatized with a gun. That's why I don't like guns and anything. Because
I can understand that.
I'm okay with shooting a gun and anything. Hell, I could shoot a gun and anything, but will I ever have a gun in my house? No.
Me neither.
It's like,
I don't mind other people having them, but I don't feel comfortable. I wouldn't want anybody living in my house to have one.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know you're supposed to protect yourself. But that's why it's called you kick some ass and anything. That's why you could self-defend, and that's why you have hands for that. Or if you have you try to karate or something like that.
Yeah, that would always be my best friend. We've often talked over many years about that we ought to share a place together, but I don't think we could live together because he's very much a gun fan. He has all kinds of guns. He packs his own bullets and all that kind of stuff. I don't think I could live like that, and I'm sure.
Yeah. See, my dad would my stepdad. He would actually have guns galore and everything. Like we lived on a farm, and he would just shoot and shoot and shoot. It was like, oh my god, it was bad. Because I remember shooting my gun. I had a gun. We had a shot. First time I shot a gun with, I was like 5 years old, and then at 7, and And then when I got a little older and everything, you could see it and everything. And then when he did, like, threatened to kill my mom and everything, and that was scary,
Oh, yeah. Especially when you guys are in the threat as well.
Yeah, luckily my brothers didn't. See, I'm a light sleeper and everything. I was always a light sleeper because I did not. Everyone else says me, like, ever since I was a kid, I've been a light sleeper. I always was a heavy sleeper when I was a kid, like when I was younger. When my mom, she always left us in the middle of the night. We always left in the middle of the night. I remember that because then she would take off and everything because my stepdad was asleep or he would just, yes, Danny is a light sleeper. Yes, I am a light sleeper and everything. It's like, I am a light sleeper and everything because I'm always alarmed because you just never know. Because I'm always not, because we always had to leave and everything, my stepdad and everything, and we just never knew when we were going to leave.
Yeah, we didn't leave too many. We left. There were a couple times where we left because Mom felt it wasn't safe, but they never lasted more than a night. So
yeah, we were gone for like a couple months and everything all the time. Like the time when I was 7 and everything. We like beginning of summer, and then when we get back from we left at like end of May and everything, and then we get back by July before my mom's birthday because my mom's birthday is in July. And so it's just crazy and everything. It's just like, for me, it was like I was always on pins and needles and everything because we never knew where we were going to be at. My mom, we just don't know if we're going to sleep in a car or if we're going to sleep in anywhere, like that's why my mom always had shelters. That was the interesting part. I did not know my mom. I never asked her how she found these women's shelters and everything. That was the weird part. Oh, are you a deep sleeper? I bet you snore, Larry. Does he snore?
I think he did a little bit, but it wasn't enough to keep me awake. So
I feel like he's a big old bear snore. Like that.
No, I don't think he's a big snorer.
Who knows? But because for me, and then I was always a light sleeper and everything through the time when I tried to sleep in anything heavy, but it never happened. I worked at a shelter before, Danny. Oh, really? That's awesome. Yeah, I remember you saying that, Larry, on your show because I heard it. You worked at a shelter and you told me and everything. Because I remember because there was women's shelters, there was no always men and everything. There was always kids and everything. But my brothers loved making friends. For me, I always didn't trust and everything. I didn't trust and everything. So I'm a deep sleeper and a snore. Yeah, he is a singing and he sings. Yes. Oh Lord, I noticed Dewey's shirt. Oh Lord. Oh, it's okay, Ronnie. It's just a penis. It's just a penis.
Yeah, I have a CPAP machine as well. And it makes more noise than my snoring does, I think, because I need to get a new mask and all that stuff for it, but I'm too cheap. So
yeah, we just gotta go to Dollar Tree. I'm just kidding. So basically, yeah, but my stepdad always made sure we always had a home and everything, but we always traveled and everything because I remember the time when we moved out down to Louisiana. I lived in Louisiana for 6 months. Out of a hotel. No joke. Out of a hotel and everything. Like I remember like when I was a kid and everything, my stepdad's like, all right, people, bunk up and everything. I always slept under the I was really tiny, but I was skinny. I basically those like back in the day they had those dressers, like they're higher up and everything, but they could see through the thing. They had like you can actually see under the floor.
Yeah,
I actually slept under the dresser somehow.
oh my gosh!
Well, I stuck myself under the drawer. Huh?
At least you didn't sleep in a drawer.
No, I didn't sleep in a drawer. I just slept under there and everything. And everyone's asking me, like my stepdad asked me why I would sleep under there. Because I felt like I was safe there because I just didn't know why. Because I kept a watch on my stepdad because I knew what he was up to and everything. Because my stepdad would take us like on trips and everything, but sometimes and everything, especially Louisiana. That was a doozy. From Iowa to Louisiana, that took a long time. And anything. So it was interesting. I lived there for quite a while and everything because it was Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because his sister lived there, and my dad's mom lived there, and his his stepdad lived there as well and everything, and I got to meet my aunt Colleen and her mom and my step grandpa and my step grandma. But it was Ida, and I think it was her name was Ida, if I remember right. But yeah, so it was interesting and anything. Living in a motel, and then we moved back to Iowa and anything. We didn't have a place and anything, and so my for the longest time, for like a year, for a year and a half, my dad and my mom lived in a hotel, but it was like ground floor hotel, like base hotel and everything, like what's a hotel, but you have one room, and then it was huge and everything. We had one room, but my brothers and I had one bed. We all three slept in the same bed and everything, and it was funny because my younger brother and everything, he was just a squirmy little sucker.
Yeah, when we were at home, we always had separate beds, but every time we traveled, my brother and I always had to share a bed, and I hated that because he was a bedwetter until he was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah, see, it was interesting because my brothers and everything, because then when we would get we had like a bedroom, and then we had like a living room, and then we had like my stepdad lived in the living room, and then my mom had a bedroom and everything, but it was like the other side of the house, or like side of the room and everything. It was just huge and everything. We had a 2-room and everything. It was just crazy. Oh my God. Which one are you? Which one is Billy? You, Billy? Huh? Oh my goodness. No, there's neither of them. Yeah, they all have hair. Larry. Anyways. So we would we would eat breakfast. We had a kitchen and everything and all that. So it was interesting and everything. My mom and then my mom had enough of the hotel living, and my mom said, "If I stay with you, we got to move into a house or something." And we moved to place and everything. When we finally found a farmhouse and everything, that's when I actually lived on a farm and everything for quite a while, because my brothers and I would go out in the farm and we would do anything. It was funny because it was fun and anything, but at the same time we would get bored and everything because we would venture off and everything. We would do everything. My brothers would go venture off and everything. I would not stay. I would stay in because I was not a outside guy. I would actually just stay in and draw or just do what I can, I was just not I didn't like to be outside much for me when I was a kid and anything. So that's the hardest part, when people ask and anything. When I got a little older, then my mom finally stopped. Like I said, you like how with my childhood, it was rough and everything. And then my mom made bad choices and everything. And then she got with my sister's dad and everything. And that's the one who abused me and everything. He was a cricket son, the bitch and everything. He was just mean, very mean and everything. So he was just, because I remember him abusing my mom a couple times and everything. He would grab my mom's throat. And,
oh my!
Yeah, he would actually he would grab her. He was he was a fat motherfucker and everything. He was like 5'6". I think he was like 5'6" and everything. And my mom's like 4'3". I think she's short. I remember him grabbing her throat and then throwing her against the door and everything. And that door fucking broke. And I was pissed. I wanted that time. Back then, I like now, if I had to change, like everyone asks me, what would I change? And I said I would protect my mom from the getting her neck and anything. She would have, I would have stabbed that fucker to death. And anything, I would have gone to prison for it, for murder, but anything. But yeah, my mom, but she dealt with the sad part. She never left. That's the hard part, she never left.
Yeah, that's like my mom. She had my dad, and they were together for, I think, 18 years before they split. And of course, most of the time it's like, well, they stayed together for the kids. And because I remember when she was thinking of getting a divorce, she sat me down as the oldest and told me what she had in mind and wanted to know how us kids would feel about it. So I talked with my brother and my sister, and we both agreed that it couldn't be any worse than what it is now, because our dad was pretty much, he went to work, came home, got drunk, and passed out on the couch, and he'd say yes to anything if you let him go back to sleep. So it wasn't like he did things with us and that we would miss him that much. And at that time, that's when a lot of people were going through divorces. You heard about all your friends who were going to their dads for the weekend and all this. They got 2 sets of families and all that. And we thought it'd be cool. And the day he moved out of the house, he came to say goodbye to us kids, and he broke down and cried. And I think that was the only time in my life I ever saw my dad cry. And that tore me up for years. I felt so guilty, like I caused all of that, because I felt like I gave mom permission to do that. And but she had him as a drunk, and then the next guy she had was even in a worse drunk. And then after he died, the boyfriend she had for a while was such a drunk that he lost his license, and he paid me to drive him around because he was an insurance salesperson. And so we had to go make calls, and I just, so he paid me one summer when I wasn't in school to drive him around.
You were a chauffeur.
Yeah. And so it's like she just seems to keep finding all these drunks, and she would never leave them. Even as my stepdad, she said the only reason she didn't leave him is she didn't want to set him loose to make somebody else's life miserable. That was the kind of mom I had.
Yeah, see, my mom, she would just she made bad choices and everything. The hardest part is and anything with my mom, when she would go and anything, she would go for a little while. The sad part is, for example, I before we moved in with my sister's dad's, before she started getting abused and everything, my mom thought he was perfect and everything, because I remember him, I physically ran away from him, physically ran away from home.
That's what I could never quite understand, is what my mom saw in that guy, that her second husband, because they never seemed to. I mean, she knew he was basically a rebound guy, because she had been dating a very wonderful guy that was rich. He was very nice to us kids. He was a candy salesman. It was nice. But whenever he would come to town, he'd make sure at least once while he was there, he took all of us out and not just take mom out. And, all of a sudden she didn't see him anymore. I don't even know where she met this guy. And, the next thing you know, boom, boom, wham, bam, we're moving to Illinois, and they got married that Christmas while we were visiting my dad. And I know why she got married, because 7 months later, my brother was born. But so it was so funny to think my mother got married because she had to.
Yeah, the hardest part is my mom was still married to my stepdad and everything. Then, the good thing is my mom, she got engaged to that guy, but she was always married to my stepdad and everything. They always he didn't want a divorce. He said, if you want to stay married to me, that's fine, but I want to see my kids. That's my brothers and I, because it's only dad I knew at the time. And he said, well, they had a stern talk and everything, because he's like, well, I want to take my kids for the weekends and everything. I want to see my kids and everything. And I understood, that's the only dad we knew and everything. And then my dad, we would, my mom lived in a town, and they lived my stepdad lived in 45 minutes away and everything. And I was excited to see him on weekends, because I was so excited to get away from those weekends, because that man was the guy who abused me. He was just so bad and everything. He would just be very mean. Like I was saying, my mom would take off and everything. When I remember when I took off and everything, and oh man, when I took off, I did not like that guy at all. I thought he was nice at first and everything, and then I just had a hunch. I maybe missed it. Is your mom still around, Danny? Yes, she is still around and everything. She is still around and everything, but she is still around and everything. My mom and I have a love and hate relationship.
Oh yeah.
And everything. Dewey's heard it. My husband's heard it and everything. He's heard it almost 21 years and everything. And he's like, because she's put me through a lot and everything. For she punished me for so long. She's like, because it's it's the sad part is when you're trying to forgive and forget, I can't forgive my mom, because everyone says you need to forgive and everything. I can't forgive her because of what she's done to me and everything. We moved, we've had she left me when I had a seizure and a stroke and everything, when I was a kid, and I was in the hospital and I was all alone and everything. I felt so alone and everything when I couldn't figure out why I couldn't understand the doctors, you know. They're like, "Where's your mom?" They always ask me. I always did this when I was a kid, you know, because I didn't know where my mom was, you know. She was always saying, "Oh, car's broken," and everything. Dan, your mom is crazy. Yeah, yeah, she is crazy. Yeah, she is crazy, dear. I agree. She is a crazy goon. I call her my anything. You know, the hardest part. You know, that's the hardest part. You know, when there's patterns. You know, does your everyone else is like, did your mom live like that when she was a kid? Yeah, my grandma chose
That's
me.
where I got fortunate because my mom and her brother and sister, I don't think they were abused, but they were neglected a lot because her mom and dad were drunks and they would lock the kids in their bedroom and then they'd go out drinking. Well, they learned to get out the window and they lived next to a graveyard. So they played in a graveyard all the time because that was the only place they could get to play.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, you know. Like with me, like I couldn't get away from everything, you know. Like especially when I was in the hospital, like for that week and everything, I couldn't figure out why I was having these and everything. I remember one time, the first night when I was in the hospital and everything, I was seizure active and everything, and then I told because this kid had his tonsils out and everything, and he whined to his mommy and everything. Mommy, shut the fuck up! I said and everything. And the next minute, and everything, and the mom comes and opens the curtain, and the next minute she starts screaming at me. And the next minute I start convulsing and everything, and then like the nurse comes in and everything. It was crazy. And the doctor, like the nurse comes in, why are you screaming out that guy? There's a seizures. Like he told him to shut the fuck up and everything. I'm like, I did not say that, and I did. I had to lie to the nurse. I didn't say that. I said I did though. But it caused a seizure so much and everything. It caused me to have a seizure and everything. So he's like, and it was because that kid would whine about the damn tonsils and everything. Oh my, it's just his tonsils hurts. I'm like, oh God. And then he's like, we need to change rooms, and they did change rooms and everything. And I have my own room for a whole week because I was there for like a week.
Yeah, you were a bad influence on the other kid.
Yeah, I think so. So shut the fuck up and everything. I was like, God Lord, whiny little son of a bitch and everything. But he didn't. He was like, it was bad. I remember that night. It was like at 2:00 in the morning and everything. And they had to switch rooms and everything. It's like, okay, we'll switch rooms and everything. And luckily, I stayed in that room because they didn't want to transfer me into another room and everything because it was like because they had all these brain waves hooked up to me and everything. It was just bad. But the doctors always ask, and it's like, so is your mom in there today? Nope. And then the sad part is my mom, she would show up the last day when I was getting out. She would bring me a balloon and a Mickey Mouse watch. I'm like, really, Mom? Where were you? You needed your rest. That's why I was her excuse. She needed my rest. I needed my rest, but I needed you. That was the hardest part. I was all alone for that, you know. That was the hardest part.
Yeah, that's a rough thing. And how old were you?
Oh God, I was like, I think I was like 9 years old. Because it was just like, it was just sad and everything because my mom would like never show up and everything. She would, I was like, and it's like it was just crazy. You just never knew, and like that's my mom did not like yeah, I understand. Because I couldn't figure out why she didn't show up at the hospital. Why did she, you know, like that's the sad part is my mom just didn't care. Like I know it's supposed to be Mother's Day this week and everything, but we have good moms and we have bad moms and we have decent moms. Do I have a decent mom? No, she's a bad mom and everything. So the mom I look up to is my grandmother and everything because she was my everything, you know. So she was my. I could tell her everything. She was my rock when I needed it. So
at least you had somebody, thank goodness.
Yeah, I did. You know, like when I was younger, when I lived in Iowa, I didn't have her. You know, that's the sad part. I didn't have my grandma and anything. When my grandma would visit and everything, it was funny because my grandma came to visit. I was so excited. I was like 9 years old. My grandma knew something was up and everything, and I was flinching in the back and everything because my mom's boyfriend at the time, he would hit me in the back. He would like hit me in the back of the head, or he would just be very mean and just like wham me in the head. I would flinch so much and everything. And my grandma said, "Why are you flinching?" And then my grandfather come up to me and he tried to give me a hug like this and everything. And I flinched so hard and everything. Oh my God, I was shaking so bad and everything.
Oh wow.
And my grandfather's like, "What happened?" And then I couldn't tell him and everything because he would have killed him. My grandfather would have killed him. He would have hurt him really bad. He would have done everything. He would have took me home and back to Arizona with them and everything. I should have told him and everything, but I didn't. But my grandma, I told my grandma what was going on and everything, but I asked her not to tell my grandfather. Never tell him or he's gonna kill him. He's like, no, I promise. And she never told him. That was the interesting part. Is my grandma and I had secrets. She always pranky promised me she would never tell my grandfather. But when I got older, I did tell my grandfather what he did to me. Oh man, I think I was like 12. Yeah, when we moved to Arizona, I was 12 years old. I told him, he says, all right, since you're living in my house now, I want to know what happened to you in Iowa. I sat down and cried and told him what really happened and what he did to me. He says, that son of a bitch, if I see him and everything, and I'm going to kill him. I'm like, no, it's not worth it and everything. And it was funny. And then my mom went back to him. She went back to him like 3-4 times and everything. That was the sad part. It's like, 4 or 5. Yeah, she went 4 or 5 times. I remember now. She would just, I couldn't figure out, I remember she was going to go back to Iowa because we were going to school September, and by end of October, we were supposed to go back to Iowa. And my grandfather said, over my dead body, you're not taking these kids out of this house. And that was my older brother and I. He's like, you can take the little hellion with you, but you're not going to take your oldest one and your other one, this one. And that was me. It's like, why? Because you're making bad choices, Linda. That's my mom's name. And she said, you're making bad choices. I said, I don't care what you do, but you're not taking these kids. But you can take the little hellion. It was funny because my brother was a little hellion. My brother Nathan, he was like, oh God, he was 10 years old and he was a little hellion and everything. So it was crazy though, because you just never know.
Oh yeah.
Because my grandfather, he was very protective of his grandkids and everything. He would do anything. And then
I never really knew most of my grandparents that well. My mom's mom and dad, we knew who they were, but we weren't the kind of family where you went and spent time with grandma and grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's mom and dad, I don't even know if I can remember where they lived, but they moved to California when I was still single digit age. And my dad's mom and dad, we would go see them a lot, like on Sundays for dinner and stuff like that. They would come over for the major holidays and all, but we never, as kids, just went to their house and spent time with them like kids do these days with grandparents and stuff.
Yeah, that's the hard part. You just come and go. And for me, I was like, I always I wanted structure in my home, I always wanted structure from my grandparents and everything. And then when I was 12 and everything, when I turned 13 and everything, I was turning 13. Man, that was a rough year. That was 97. I moved in Arizona in 97 and everything. I moved to Arizona, and then my mom, it was so funny. My grandfather asked her, because she had a picture of her, the boyfriend at the time, the one who abused me, a picture under her blanket, under her pillow, and my grandma found it. And she was not happy. And my grandma asked and anything, and she slams on the table really hard and everything, and it says, it's like, damn it, and son of a bitch. And she was always say to my grandfather, he's like, now what, Judy? That's my grandma's name. And she's like, what's the matter now? It's like, I think my daughter's going to go back to that asshole. And that fat lord. And she called him fat lord. And it's like, and then, what are you talking about? It's like, and then she shows a picture. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to see that. And it's like, let me have that. And then he hid that picture for a long time. He's like, that was funny. So my mom was supposed to find a job and everything because because my grandfather said, you need to find a job and you need to stick with it, Linda, and if you want these kids and everything, and I'll give you 6 months to live here and everything. So when in that picture and everything, and my grandfather was so pissed and everything, she came home, how was job searching and everything? Oh, not so bad and everything. It's like, bullshit. You've been on the phone, calling on payphones, because I know people. My grandfather knew a lot of people and everything, and my mom, they didn't know my mom really well in that town, but my grandfather knew that town, and they knew him. They reported the town, so it was bad and everything. So my grandma, he slams the picture on the table and asks, "Is like, so are you going back to this ass fat fuck kind of thing?" Man, he's like, Danny, Kent, Nathan, living room, watch TV. I could hear my grandfather screaming in the kitchen and in the living room, and I was in the living room. You can there was no. He's like, no, I promise, and anything. She's crying and anything. But my grandfather's like, no, Daddy, I'm not. Yeah, bullshit. You are too. Anything. I just got the phone bill and anything, and I'm like, you've been talking to that fucker, and like 3:00 in the morning and anything, calling him collector. You calling him on the phone, the landline, and anything. Why is my phone bill up so high and anything? And well, I'm taking the kids back to Iowa and anything. He's like, that's when he said over his dead body. That was bad.
Good.
And anything. He's like, if you want to, he's like, you're not gonna get the kids, and I think I would fight you tooth and nail I will get custody of them, and I will make sure of that. Because I have proof of that man what he did to, but he did to Kent and Danny and Nathan. I don't care about the hellion. That was my brother Nathan. He was a hellion, they call him. But it was just bad. I didn't think of my mom made that choice and everything. And when I saw her, I didn't see her for like a month. We didn't see her for a month, Dewey. We didn't see her for a month. Because she would call collect on my grandfather and everything. She would call collect and everything and said, so what's the holdup and everything? Why are you moving this asshole down here or what? And he's like, well, we'll be there before Thanksgiving. Sure enough, guess what? We had Thanksgiving, we had ready for a meal. We were sitting, my brothers and I were sitting down to eat with my grandma and grandpa on Thanksgiving. Sure enough, we hear this horn, and like the next minute, my mom, it's like, and he's like, I'm back. And I'm like, oh, great. And then he's trying to come in. This guy's trying to come in, and I'm shaking so bad and everything. I haven't eaten yet because I'm shaking so bad because I didn't want that man in the house. I was shaking so bad and everything. And then my grandfather's like, you don't bring that fat fuck in my house. No. Nope. I said, I don't care what you do and everything. And everything, he says, and he grabs his wallet out. It's like, here's some money. Here's some money. Go to a hotel and everything. I don't care what you do and everything, but you're not taking these kids and everything. So I stayed the night and everything. And then my mom tried to pull us out of school because she still had rights of us and everything. So she pulled it out of school the next day after Thanksgiving break and everything. It was 2 days later after that Monday. My mom pulled us out of school. I called my grandfather collect a couple of days later, and he asked where I was. I said I was at a hotel and everything, and it was so bad and everything. And I said, I don't want to tell you where we are. He's like, where are you? And I said, well, I'm coming. I'll be home in a few. I don't know when, but I was in a cop car. I was like screaming. I was with my younger brother and everything, the hellion and everything. And it was bad. And I told the cop, I said, I don't want to go back to that hole. He's like, no. And then my brother went back, but I didn't. And so my grandfather's like, do you remember where your grandfather lives? He's like, yeah. I said, I was shaking so bad because he did the same thing. He was doing the same thing. Like he started screaming, started abusing and everything. It started bad. It was really bad. And I was like, I called my grandfather because we missed school for like a week because they didn't know where we were and everything. So it was just bad. My mom made that bad choice and everything. And then my grandfather was so mad and everything. And he said he would try to I get back, and it was like 2 weeks before Christmas and everything. And then it was like he tried to come in the house, and my grandfather like, you ain't coming in this house. And he's like, well, I'm picking that kid out, and like that Linda's kid, and picking him up and everything. Literally, my grandfather taught me how to pick him up, and he was size a little bit bigger than you, Dewey.
Wow.
And I literally flipped him over, and his glasses went like that. I looked at him and everything. What age were you both when you came out? When I came out, oh God, I was 17. I came out when I was 17. I was 17. I was like almost 18. I was 2 months before 18. I was 2 months. My New Year's resolution in 2001 to come out to the closet, and I did. I was the goal. How about you, Dewey?
I tried to come out probably somewhere in my mid to late 20s. I started running around with a lot of gay friends and all that stuff, and I was feeling comfortable with it, and we had quite a few gay people working at the hotel. And one day, my mom worked at the hotel too, and one day at work, she asked what I was doing hanging around with them because it was my day off, and a bunch of us had stopped in for lunch. And I said, well, I like them. We have fun together. And she said, well, you're not like them, are you? And I just looked at her and I go, yeah. And she says, "No, you're not." And I go, "Yes, I am." And she just welled up in tears right there at work. And that kind of pulled me back. I just kind of, that's it. I never came fully out while I was living in Illinois. Especially with when my mom was alive. I probably didn't come fully out until after my wife died. I mean, she knew I was gay because I told her before we got married.
Oh, hubby says, "What? Danny and Dewey? Are you gay? Who knew? Who knew?" Oh, that's cool.
Surprise!
But yeah, it was. I came out to my girlfriend at the time. Like I came out to. It was bad. It was bad. And everything. It was bad. She was my fiance, and everything was bad. But it was just crazy. But it was crazy though. It was just like my mom thought I was bisexual and everything, and she's like, "What, are you bi?" I'm like, "No, I'm gay." And anything. Like the last person I told before I told everyone, and it was my grandma and everything. I left her a post-it note. I found a post-it note. It was a piece of post-it note and everything because she had post-it notes on her end of her bed. She always had post-it notes and anything. And I left her a note and said, I was crying all week. I was telling everyone I was gay. And then I told my grandma, she was not drunk, but she was buzzed and anything. Because she just lost my grandfather, a couple of years. She just came a drunk and she just didn't care about life. And
how old were you when you first knew you were gay?
How old? Oh God! Since I was 7, or I'm 6. And anything. The first time I sucked a penis when I was 7. Wait, 6. I was 6 years old and everything. But I was like, oh. Then I was 7 years old. That's when I got a mantle handle. But now
I think I was about 8 years old. But my brother and I would play around with each other, Of course, what are you going to do at 8 years old? I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, and everything. Well, some people I feel like it's like, yeah, I wasn't molested and everything, and everyone's like, oh, you don't know what. Everyone's like, you're just very young. You just don't know what you are. I'm like, yeah, well, I was very curious. I wanted a man's penis in my mouth and everything, and I did. I didn't care, Like I was like, oh, did you get molested? Yes, I got molested and everything, but it's not because of him. I was just curious. I was like, I wanted that. I always wanted a penis in my mouth every second I could. And I think that's just interesting, but I never gotten it. It was just like it's always like I don't know why. It just for me, I knew I was gay for a long time, but
I knew what I liked, but I don't think I knew what it was.
But yeah, I couldn't. That was the hard part. I couldn't figure that out either.
Back in the '60s, gay wasn't as open as it is now. So, I had a lot of people would call me a faggot or gay or something, but I would rebel against it because I really didn't know what I was. I just knew what I liked, and it took me a while. I mean, I didn't have boyfriends or girlfriends. I mean, I didn't have my first adult male until after I was 21. So it wasn't like I had much experience, but it just kind of it was a slow development for me, and I just kind of had to learn by trial and error.
See, for me, I couldn't figure out. Well, I couldn't for the longest time. I couldn't figure out who I was. Why was it normal being gay? For me,
well, the way of me, I knew what I liked, but it obviously wasn't normal because I was teased about it a lot. I didn't do anything about it like in school or anything like that. I was quiet about it because it was obviously something that seemed unnormal. And so I didn't do anything, but it was just I just kind of slowly progressed, I guess. And
see, I had to the nice part was when I was before I came out and anything, I fought my sexuality for a long time and anything, and I couldn't figure out, the nice part was this Arthur wrote a book. I have the book till this day. I have to find it. It's by Eric Marcus and everything. It was a really good book. It identified about being gay. It was normal and everything. It was a really good book. And I actually wrote to the Arthur about 10 years ago, and he revamped the book and everything, and he actually sent me his new revamped it and everything. We have to there is questions in there and anything. One podcast we'll definitely have to get into that book and everything, because I would love to bring that book and tell people how to come out and everything. We're gonna have to. That's gonna be in October. That's gonna be in everything. So.
Yeah, I didn't have, especially since I moved so much. I was never one of the popular kids. I never had very many friends, and especially didn't have girlfriends. And then my last 2 years of high school, at that high school, I ended up the gal that ended up being my first wife. We became friends. We didn't really date much. I think in high school, I think we probably didn't go on more than 2 dates the whole time. But we were kind of like boyfriend and girlfriend, but we never did anything physical or anything. And and I still didn't know what I was, because I hadn't had boyfriends or girlfriends, so I really didn't know what it was all about. And she hated kids, so she was definitely afraid of being pregnant. So she had no desire to have sex, which was fine for me because I didn't either. But we never knew anything about me. We were only married like 2 years, and eventually I don't even think I actually loved her. I think I was in love with the fact that somebody loved me. And at that stage of my life, I thought, well, I got to marry this person because this may be the last person in the world that ever loves me. That's the way I felt at the time. So that obviously didn't work out. So that didn't last long. And then in my mid-30s, I married my second wife. And I had a lot of gay playing in between all of that. And her and I never told her that I preferred men, but I think she kind of detected it, because most of the time if we were going to have sex, they had to have videos on, and they had to have guys and gals both in them. So, and a number of 2 guys and a gal usually or something. So she probably detected it. And but I never told her. My third wife was the only one that I actually told ahead of time, because I figured if I'm going to try it again, I want it to be totally upfront and honest, and I don't want it to fail. And it was fine. I mean, at that stage of our life, neither one of us were that interested in sex, so not having sex wasn't a problem for us. And God, if I knew then what I know now, then my life now, it's like, woo. But we were happy. Everything else about our relationship was perfect. We got along fine. We had no problems, and we had if she were still alive, we'd probably still be married to this day. But now I would like to have, now that I've had that, I'm glad, because now I know what love is all about. But I would like to have that with somebody that I can also have a physical relationship with too. Yeah. You're right, Larry. I need to find me a sugar daddy, somebody that can keep me accustomed to my lifestyle.
That's not going to be the hard part, Dewey, because there's a lot of scammers out there and everything.
Tell me about it. And at my age, I'm usually the sugar daddy, so it's even harder to find one. So
we just got to get you a sugar. You'll be a sugar baby, and then I'll just teach you the ways, Dewey. I'm like, you just bat your eyes and say, "How you doing?" And it's like,
well, every time I think I have a sugar daddy, they end up being a liar, cheating scammer. So
yeah, we'll find you someone. We have to go to the casino and everything, so we'll have to go to a casino. We just got to go to a high limit.
No, not necessarily. I remember one person in the casino one time at a roulette table that panned out pretty good. So okay, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, that's a difference, right? So when you were like, how old were you when you lost your virginity with a man? Then
with a man?
Yeah, with a man.
In my 20s.
Like not like blowjob, but like physical.
The first time I ever actually had physical sex with a man, I was probably 22. Something like that, maybe 21 or 22.
I was like, okay, when I lost mine completely, virginity, it was 19. Anything, because I was like 19 and everything, but I didn't look I lost my man virginity for a long time, It was like,
yeah. When I got married to my first wife, we were both virgins all the way. So
see, I didn't lose my virginity with a woman until I was 17 and anything. And will I ever have it again? No.
Well, if we'd have had sex before we got married, we probably definitely would have never got married.
The hardest part is like for me, it was not normal. Like it's like the hardest part is when you have sex with girls and you're like, okay, you're imagining a guy's ass and anything. You're like, oh god, I'd rather just bend to a guy's ass and anything over and anything else and spank me. It's like, oh, it's like. How old were you with SOS, Pat? Oh, SOS. How was I? Oh god, I was 17 and everything. And she was 22. My fiance was 22 and I was 17. She was a little older than I am. Oh, SOS. Yeah, she was a Pat. Yeah, I know. So don't remind me. Nightmares. Thanks, Amanda. Gonna come back. Nightmares. It's that part. The interesting part is for me. I didn't like. For me, I didn't lose until I was like completely until I was 19.
Yeah. Mine was a boss I had.
I lost like the funny part is everyone was just shocked and everything. I lost my virginity with Billy completely.
Oh.
With Billy and everything. I was 19. He was very patient. With me, and I told him I was like I was not. I'll just suck on you. That's about it. And then after you ain't gonna stick that any near me. That's too big. I'll say.
Yeah, I had I was cooking in a hotel, and it was in the town that I eventually lived in most of my life, but we were still living in a small town 25 miles south. So he lived even farther than I did. So he had a room at the hotel. Well, I worked on Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, and Sunday morning before I got off. So I would stay at the hotel as well from Thursday through Saturday and then go home on Sunday after work. Well, he just had me stay in his room. And of course, we played, and so I learned and discovered a lot of things while working for him.
It was interesting when you're learning how to, especially gay lingo. It's like top and bottom.
Oh yeah, at that time, I my only experience had been with, my brother, a cousin, and a couple of friends. But we were all kids. We never had real full blown adult fooling around of any sort. And I think the oldest person I had would have been a cousin I had when I was 9 years old. No, I take it back. I was in junior high in Indianapolis, and they came to visit, and we experimented a little.
See, there was interesting part is for me, I experimented for a long time, but then I stopped and everything. And then the neighbor kid, his name was Robbie. I remember Robbie quite well. And everything, so it was funny. So Robbie would come. I went over there. I was so freaking nervous and everything. My brother, I was home alone. My grandma was already at the VFW and everything with her husband, her third husband and everything. And I went over there and said, "Hey, Robbie, you want to come over and hang out?" Sure. So we did hang out and everything, but he didn't force me to have sex or anything. But I wanted to drop his pants and blow him like no other. He was like, oh, like I was like, oh god, I was like 15 or 16 years old and anything, and I knew he's gay because he came out, and he came out like he was a grade ahead of me. But it was interesting and everything. But yeah, like everyone asked me like, what was my first age when I seen a penis? Hell, I seen a penis when I was younger, but I was my babysitter. I had a babysitter. Then they found out my stepdad. I don't think my stepdad and my mom didn't know and anything, but I'd never seen that babysitter ever again. That's the hardest part. I kept in touch for a long time, and then it was just weird. We just never know. Another thing, but it was interesting. Like for us people, we try to figure out who we are and everything. Like that's why we talked about tonight and everything, because if we lived a poor life or we lived a rich life, like my husband and I were opposites. He had a good life in his childhood. He had a great life, he said. And anything. So he had a good childhood, A lot of people have good childhoods and some had rough.
Oh yeah.
For me, I have had a rough. Pretty much rough.
And mine, we had rocky moments, but for the most part, mine was a good one too.
I just wish mine would. I turn hands of time back. Yeah, I would have. And anything, I could have figured out who I was and anything else.
Yeah, I wish I would have appreciated who I was earlier than I did. My life would have been totally different, but where I lived and how I lived and stuff, it just wasn't easy to be out. The area I lived in wasn't exactly a bad area, but I was involved in business. I was in stuff. I was involved in social groups and stuff, and it just wasn't the thing to do.
See, for me,
I was very much all about what people expected me to be and do most of the time, most of my life. So,
like I told Dewey, tonight we're actually going to throw some throwbacks. Like everyone does a throwback Thursday and anything. We're actually going to throw back some pictures of us when we were kids and anything, so you guys can see what we look like and anything, and what could we change in our adventures and everything. You want to go first, Dewey? First picture?
Sure.
This
is the youngest picture I think that I still have. This would have been back when I was 8 years old, getting ready for school, probably what I'd venture second grade, maybe third grade, something like that. Probably second grade.
Did you have a white shirt and anything, and a suit jacket?
Yeah, a little sport coat, and then I don't remember the outfit myself, but I just remember the time, and it's like it just that was me as a little kid, and then by the time I graduated high school, that's what I became. Good old leisure suit Larry.
Let's see here. I have so many pictures of me. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I just ran across one. Let's see here. If I can find it. I just had it and anything. Where did I go with it? Okay. Let's see here.
In the 80s, they had my porn star look.
Oh, his porn mustache. I wonder if you had that porn mustache, Dewey, if you would have a gray one or it would same like a different color.
As I got old, I had it for quite a while. And as I got older, it got gray as well.
You're like, oh, here we go. So this is me.
Because you saw one picture of me earlier where, it's this one here. Where is it? There it is. This is one when you can see how gray my temple. This was my wife, my third wife. Her birth, she would have been 69 years old today. So,
happy birthday.
But you see here how gray my hair looked then compared to now.
Yeah, I know you because you're all that sun you're getting and down in Florida.
Yeah, and I don't, granted I've dyed my hair a few times, but it's, I don't wash the gray out. It's just kind of lightened up on its own. The only thing I've done is lose a lot of weight. This is kind of a shot of me when I was at my heaviest. Look at that old blimp.
So Dewey, that picture right there. Okay, what would you? Okay, so tell me, dear Dewey, what would you say to yourself?
Oh, well, knowing what I know now, I would definitely encourage me to live what I would like to live and not what everybody expected me to live. I mean, my life was okay at this time. I had no major complaints, but I mean, I could have been having a lot more fun like I am now.
But you were more now you would be now you're more active than anything because you're all this weight.
I never had a sexually active life before I was 60. I could probably count on two hands every time I ever had sex with anybody.
Now you're I can't keep up with them.
And now it's like I need my hands, your hands, and Sean's hands just to count this year, and I'd still be short. So
it's crazy, a little tramp whore.
Oh yeah, I'm a slut right now in my old age, and loving every minute of it.
See, that's the hardest part. Is this was with me when I was that's the year when I started getting abused and anything. That's the year when I started getting abused when I was a child and anything. I was sixth grade. I was sixth grade and anything. I was in sixth grade and anything. I was a little geek and anything. So let's see here. Let's see here. This was when I was in seventh grade. This was look at that hair. Look at that, you guys. Look at that hair.
Oh my. You were a nice looking young man.
Yeah, I was a geek, little thing. Anything. My grandma always. The funny part is, I was dressed differently and everything. So these are okay. So when I lived with you could tell I lived with my mom in these pictures because I lived with my. When I got older and everything, it was funny because when I was looking at these pictures and everything of me, I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is me when I was in 7th grade. I did not smile. Started smiling because it was like, because it was that year I lost my grandfather and everything. I lost my grandfather. Like I was baptized that day and everything. At 98 and everything, and then like exact month, I got baptized 3/8 of 98, and my grandfather died April 29th of 98. So it was like less than 3 weeks and everything. It was hard because I was like, oh God, and everything. It was like changing. And it was like I was changing through the time and everything. And then let's see here. Let's see here. And then this is when I was getting baptized by the minister and all that. So that was me without glasses. I was a little skinny little thing. Dang, you're a little slim shady. Yeah, I was a little slim shady. Yes, I was shorty. Yeah, yes, I was slim shady. So then let's see here. This is me when I was in, oh God, this was my sophomore year. That was my sophomore year. That was my sophomore year, like in high school and everything. And then it was my junior year. I actually started going rebel because I actually dyed my hair black. My grandma hated it. She got so pissed at me. She said, "You need to dye that hair back." And I'm like, "No," and anything, because I did something. I changed it and anything, and then I came out at 17. This is when I was 17 years old and everything. This is when I was 17 years old when it came out and everything. So, see here. Oh goodness, I just dropped it.
I don't have any pictures of my friends through my young adult years.
See, this is when I had a girlfriend back in the day, and I was in like high school. That's my ex-girlfriend. Her name was Princess and everything. That was me and my ex-girlfriend and everything. Vanilla Ice, Vanilla Ice and everything. And then this was my first Pride and everything. I was first Pride. That was my first Pride. That was in 2001. Yeah, I was in 2001. I went to Pride with a friend of mine and everything. And then years later, I like, well, let's see here. And then this is my grandma and I. You guys, that's my Nana and I.
Aww.
And everything. That was my Nana. Like, now, like, if I would go back and everything, I would be this age and everything. I would be this age and everything because I would come out and everything. What would I change for myself? I would have told my grandfather I was gay. I would have told, to be honest, I would have been my honest self and everything. I would have been my honest self and everything because
this was my mom. I take after my dad. I don't have a picture handy right now of my dad, but I definitely am my father's son. But my it's funny. I take after my dad, then my brother takes after my mom, then my sister takes after my dad, then my littlest brother takes after after his dad, and then my youngest sister, she definitely is my father's daughter.
See, that's the interesting part is like I just saw a picture of the person who I knew. It's like, for me, like I look like my mom and anything, but I do look like my dad and anything. I was crazy. I just saw a picture of my. I just talked to my brother yesterday. I said, "Which one is Richard?" And he's like, "It's on the left and anything." And I said, "Oh, okay." It was funny because you could see my dad has. I have his eyes.
Oh yeah.
I have his dark blue eyes. And everything, and it's funny because I asked my husband today, it's like, so which one do you think is my dad? He's like, oh, it's the right. I'm like, no. He's like, it's the left and everything. He's like, yeah, I can see that. He's like, are they twins? And I'm like, no, they are twins. Yes. And they were identical twins. So
I actually have 4 siblings, Larry. I like to tell people I have 1.5 of each, and they can't quite figure that out. They think I got one that's kind of here. They said, no, I'm the only here. But I've got a full brother, a full sister, a half brother, and a half sister. So.
See, I have like, for me, I have like a lot of siblings. I have a half brother, older brother is 41, and then it's me, and then my older, like the little hellion, my grandfather called him. He's 36, almost 37, and then that's Nathan, and then my sister. She is 26 almost, and then I have a brother Chaz, and then on my dad's side I have a brother Jacob, and then I have a brother Ben. I just found out recently. I'm actually going to meet them in August of this year. I'm excited to meet them.
Yeah, there's me, and then my brother is 3 years younger than me, so he'll be 62 this year. And then my sister is 7 years younger than me, so she'll be she just turned 58 in March. And then my youngest brother, there's 16 years difference between us. So now he's that would make him 48, I guess. And then my youngest sister, there's 20 years difference between us. So when I visit her in Indianapolis and it's just the two of us go out, everybody keeps thinking I'm her father.
Oh wow. Cindy has a question for us, Dewey. Do you choose to be gay, or were you born that way? No, we are not born that way. We were not choose to be gay. We just, for me, and you, I'm sure you would agree with this, Dewey, because we're attracted to the opposite sex.
Yeah, I'd say I was born that way because I like what I liked. And
I wasn't born that way. I just I like what I liked and everything, but I wasn't born that way because I feel like it was like my body was just like I was prone to sit with a man, not a woman. I didn't.
But I was always more interested in boys than I was girls. I never was the only reason I really even had a girlfriend in high school because that was the thing to do, So and the gal that was my girlfriend eventually became my wife. It's like neither one of us were very popular. We were kind of in the little group of non-popular kids. So it was just kind of the thing to do. I always felt, I shouldn't say always, but as soon as I was old enough to do anything, I always felt like I liked boys. So I don't think there was any question to me.
See, the interesting part for me, I dated girls in high school and junior high, but I never want to kiss them. That was the hardest part. I never want to kiss them on the lips. I would kiss them on the cheek. That's about it. But I kissed my fiance on the like that and anything, but I would not hardly make out and anything. That was the hard part. Is everyone's like, you don't make out with your girlfriend. I'm like, it's gross and everything. Because for me, I liked him. I always imagined I always wanted to kiss a guy. That was the hardest part, Like I knew I was gay for a long time, but like we're not like for me, that was like everyone's like, oh, you're born gay. I'm like, no, I wasn't born gay. I just knew for a long time, but anything. I knew since I was a young kid and anything, but I had a crush on a girl for a long time when I was a kid and anything. I had a girl crush and everything. I had a girl crush, but she was older than I was and anything. And her name was Jamie and anything. It was so funny. I just saw her at my aunt's funeral a year ago. I said, "Are you still gonna marry me one of these days?" And I told her that she was a lesbian for a long time. And then she's like, "Oh, honey, you don't have a ring." I'm like, "Yes, I do, and I'll take one of my rings and anything and just give it to you." And she's like, I had a huge crush on her and anything, and it was so funny and anything. But I heard, but it was different.
All during youth, I just played, like with my brother and a cousin, very few people. So I didn't have that much experience with anybody. And then once I became an adult and started getting experience, I found I really liked it. And then I play with anybody that asked, basically. I don't think I ever said no.
Yeah, I didn't kiss a guy until I was like 15. Yeah, 15. Yeah, 15 years old. Yeah. I was 15
the first time I remember kissing a guy, I was 21. I'm sure I probably kissed,
But everyone asked, like, did you make out? Yeah, I made out with a guy and anything.
The way you make out when you're a kid is a lot different than the way you make out as an adult, though, when you don't even know what you're doing. So,
well, yeah, I knew. Well, the hard part is I didn't kiss my girlfriend until I was like older and everything. But like she was older than I was. But we were like, I was like, Larry, I kissed a guy. Larry said he kissed a guy. What, your hand, Larry? Just saying.
So it's like my wife and I think we were 3 days before we ever finally had sex.
Huh?
Because we were both so afraid of it.
Yeah, everyone's like when you first have sex and anything, you get nervous. You get really nervous. Your heart thumps and anything real fast and anything. Oh my! I remember. Oh man. I remember that quite. Yeah, oh God. I remember Robbie when I hooked up with Robbie. Like wait, that was Robbie. I was like, yeah, I kissed Robbie. That's right, because I made out with him. Like I sat on the couch with him and everything, and I went and sat by him and everything, and he's like, okay, why did you bring me over here? Next minute, I smacked him, then I had a kiss and everything.
Yeah, that's one thing I think puberty helped a lot because when I was young, it was just curiosity. Because there's not much that happens when you're that young. But
Well, you
once
know,
puberty started kicking in with my brother and I, and things started happening, it's like, ooh, I'm liking this even better now.
the funny part was, thing, because when I kissed a guy and everything, well, I didn't kiss a kid. I was my it was like we all like I kissed a kid and everything, and like we messed around a lot and everything. But I remember eating his butt one time. I tossed his salad and everything. I was very young, and he tossed my salad. I was like 7 years old. But I kissed a boy, but I didn't kiss and anything. But he didn't know how to kiss. The hard part, when you learn how to kiss and anything, and when we got older and anything, it was just funny. Oh my goodness! Update. Oh, update. Oh God, Larry's gonna have a give us update. 5 minutes. Amanda, what happened, honey? Was he boring? Do we have to? We got to get a girl. That's it. And anything. I saw the sex toy collection and everything, but we got to work on that collection and anything, because that collection, you guys, that made me want to redo your sex toy collection. I'm sorry. Dewey has a better collection than you guys. Oh, I don't have to last. I can go on over and over. Oh my goodness, he's what? He backed down. He's back down. He's back down. Oh, he backed down. Yes, we get your toys reviews going. Yeah, well, there's toys.
We already did that in an earlier episode.
Yeah, but those toys were like anything else. Thanks for the honesty. No problem, Cindy. You can ask anything you want tonight. Anything. Anyone can ask us anything. We're open book.
I think my one of my, I know this sounds really weird and stuff, but one of my best gay fantasies, I think, involved my brother when we were adults.
See,
he and I fooled around all the way up till the day before his wedding.
Oh wow.
He was never gay. He didn't like to do anything. He just liked to have stuff done to him, but I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Hell, you should have tied him up or something. Did you tie him up?
Nope, didn't have to tie him up. He was very receptive. When we were adults, I had a place of my own, and he would often come, because the one time we were both taking classes out at the junior college. I took mine in the day and he took his at night after work. So when he'd get off work, he'd come home to my house, and he'd go out, and he was a runner, so he'd go run like 7 miles while I was fixing dinner. And then he'd come back and he'd take a shower, and then he'd be just sitting around in a flimsy pair of shorts. And after dinner, we'd sit and relax. And I'd often kind of my signature move then was, well, do you need help relaxing? Would you like a massage? Well, once he accepted that, I knew where it was going to lead to after that. So,
oh, you don't do that's a big old, like nowadays. That's called a cop out right there.
No, it was a good line. It worked on him, so it got me what I wanted.
Nowadays, it is like massages with a happy ending. That's what hubby said. Oh, Amanda says, yes, thank you for you guys for sharing everything with us. Oh, no problem. This is how people get to know us and anything with the hostess and anything. So
that's what this show's all about. So
we're honest and anything. Yeah, we're vulnerable and anything. Like tonight, I actually got to share my story a little bit and anything. So, I love happy endings. Oh, Larry, you and that happy endings and anything. You can only last 5 minutes, I hear. That's it. You can't handle anything else. So what happened to the 40 minutes? Amanda, you probably were like, he was asleep, probably, huh? But no, we tonight we wanted to talk about our lives and everything, how we grew up. Like, Dewey had a good life. Me, I had versus rough life, but you know what? I tell people, if you came, I'm gonna tell you this and anything, you come over a lot, anything, especially being abused and everything, and verbal and physical and all that. You have to have a backbone for yourself and everything. You cannot be scared anymore. Like, I'm glad for that man. He's gone. He's dead. I had nightmares. I still have nightmares till this day at times and everything, because I have to take medicine. Because for me, it's like, Larry has a show for mental health, Yeah, this is not a mental health issue. this is about us being honest with you guys and anything, because we need to tell our story, because us
And
gaming.
then this particular show is kind of like our own mental health thing. So
Exactly, everyone has their own thing, like, I take medication for me, like I'm verbal, I've gone through a lot, I lost my son about 6 years ago, I lost my son 6 years ago, from a drunk driver. That was the devastating and everything. That was the hardest ever, to deal with and everything. Danny, can I ask, have you ever gotten counseling for your past? Yes, I have, and I think yes, I've had counseling in the past and everything. It's like talking to a fucking wall. I'm just kidding. No, yes, I did talk and everything. I did get talked and everything. But it's sucky part of here in Florida. It's like a lot. Like there's no counselors and everything because I cannot get I can't. I'm still working on my son passing, and I still can't have gotten help and everything. That's the hardest part, with my son's passing, a drunk driver killed him, and that was like, do I blame myself? Thank you. I blame myself and everything. I wish my son, I would have took that place for him, Dan had a few counselors. Yeah, I have a few. I'm really harsh on my counselors and everything because I had I had a Napoleon. I had Napoleon Dynamite. You know that movie? Do you remember that movie, Dewey? Napoleon Dynamite? Because I had a counselor like a year ago and everything, and it was like, oh God, he didn't like my metaphors. I tell people, if you don't like me and everything, there's the door. There's the door. He hated that goddamn metaphor on me. He hated that. And I'm like, what's up with the metaphor with the door? I was like, the door means you got to get the hell out of my face and anything. You get out of my way. And there's the door and anything. And people didn't like my metaphors because it's like, I have different aspects of things, like I'm working on myself, like right now I'm like Dewey's been very supportive of helping me because I'm drawing and I'm actually sketching, making some art, so that's my counseling right now is like getting on paper and just getting on canvas and everything. If you can't afford a counseling, go do something, pick up a hobby or pick up something and don't be going masturbate all the time and anything for a hobby and everything. Just saying.
No, that's a good hobby too. But.
Yeah, but that can get boring at times when you watch porn. You're like, okay, you can actually write the damn thing, but just know you just gotta figure out where that is, like for me, yeah. I'm actually doing something different, and Dewey's seen some of my work and everything, and he's impressed and everything, and I am excited. Like I have one of my pieces right now. I actually have right now. I don't know if it'll show up or not. Amazing. It's like a little glare. There we go. That's one of my pieces. I actually created that from wildflowers and everything. So it was really shocking. Yes, I agree. Whatever takes your mind to a different place to makes you happy and can yes. There is not the hardest part is, nowadays people think you need counseling, but you don't need counseling and anything. You got to figure out what makes you happy. Yeah, I would love to talk to someone, but the problem is you feel like when you're like in a roadblock and everything, you don't want to feel like it's like a wall. Because that's why I was harsh on my counselors, because I felt like the first one, she was paying attention to my guinea pig than me. And my guinea pig, she was paying attention more than me, my guinea pig. And everything. So it was crazy.
And then one good thing too is these days there's such there's so many more resources available that are easy to access. Like there's a real popular counseling service that you can call. You can either do on phone or by text or by email or by video or whatever you want. It's not like you have to go into an office and talk to. And I've used that before many years ago when I had some issues I was having problems dealing with that involved my wife, so I didn't feel comfortable talking to her about it. So I talked to a counselor to realize that what I was feeling was normal, and it helped me deal with it. So
yeah, see, the hardest part is nowadays it's like you can't get like insurance and everything. You gotta like they have specific ones to have and everything, and it's like okay, it's like people just want money and everything, and they just don't listen. Some do listen, some don't.
Yeah,
that's the hard part is and everything. So
well, that's what I like about that tell the I can't wish I could remember the name of it stuff. Larry knows who it is. He's mentioned it on his show. But if you don't like your counselor, you just get another one. It's real easy when you're doing it that way, as opposed to having to find an approved doctor.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm always like, when I had this last counselor, he was a man, and no offense to men therapy, and it's like they like to doodle and everything.
That's it. Better help. That was it. Thank you, Larry.
I say for me, I can open up to a female anytime, anything. I could tell about my life story and anything, but I'm still like trying to figure out how to, like, people ask me, how do I get over losing a child? You never do and anything. That's the hardest part of it. Like, I try.
Yeah, you just have to learn how to deal with it, though. So
yeah, I'm dealing with it. I wish I could just like say, yeah, it's gone like that, but no, you never lose. That's the hardest part. Like, when I lost him 6 years ago from the drunk driver and everything, did I forgive the man? Yeah, finally. It took a while. It took me a year ago just to finally forgive, the man who killed my son and everything. But it's like, you like everyone says, you forgive and forget, but sometimes you can't forget and everything. But I work through it and everything. And like right now, I'm working through it and everything with paper and everything. I am actually working on getting the help, and I'm focusing on paper, and I'm working on canvas and everything, because I think there's something there. There's something out there. How old was your son when he died, or now? He would have been, okay. His birthday is next month. He would have been 26. Oh my God, I'm old, Dad. Jeez. Old Dad. He was 20 years old when I lost him. He was 19. He was almost 20 when I lost him. He died in February, and then I lost him like that February 1st. The sucky part is it's my brother's birthday and everything, and it's my son's death date and everything. And it's like my brother's like, why don't you call me? I'm like, well, it's hard because it's like my son's passing and everything. It's not my brother's fault he was born that day. You could change the date for date. I told my mom, like, Mom, just change the date, and I think you've been all right. That's heartbreaking. Yeah, it is heartbreaking, The driver is basically, he's in prison, and I think that's a good thing. He's in prison because he got the 15 years. We maxed the 15 years and everything, so that's a good thing. But he can get out anytime after a certain time, But we always push, because he always gets up for a parole a couple of years and everything, and it's like, nope, you don't deserve to get out yet. Everyone's like, are you gonna try to get? I said, why are you? Everyone asks me too, comes up to me. He's like, why are you being so mean to that man? I'm like, what? I'm not mad on anything. So March 3rd is a hard day for me. It's Danny's birthday, but it's also my mom's birthday. Yes, but it's a celebration. That's the hardest part is, there's good with things and there's bad things.
Yeah.
What? March 3rd, when is Amanda and I met? Oh, creepy. That's creepy. 3-3. But you just never know. In 2012, that was like a long time ago. But I try to work on things. We all work on things. With grief. Like everyone has their own time. I'm still learning. Like my grandma's been gone 9 years. And I'm still taking that hard till this day, and she's never, I wish I could just pick up the phone and call her and say Happy Mother's Day to her, but she's up there, she's cheering me on and everything. So
that's the good thing about the people that are special in your life. They may not be here, but they're with you in your heart and in your mind, and they're always watching over us. So.
Oh yeah, because she likes to visit me when I'm sick and anything. When I'm sick and anything, that's the hardest part, Like when I'm sick, I can feel her. She likes to tickle my feet when I'm sick. And I think there's no time limit to healing. Actually, that's a good point. Tyler Perry made a good sense yesterday. I have to find it. Next show we will do it. He did a good something about don't be sorry about grief. He said, don't be sorry about grief. It doesn't get I have to find it. I will find it because Oprah interviewed him and he did a good quote. And I think I gotta find it. It's gonna drive me nuts. I'll find that for next week. Actually, we won't be here next week, right, Dewey? Because you're gonna go to the ship.
You'll be in surgery and I'll be on my cruise. So
I won't be in surgery, but I'll be in recovery.
Oh yeah, you'll be recovering from your surgery. So.
And you think, yeah. So this coming week on the 18th, we're actually going to take a hiatus for like a week because Dewey's going on a princess cruise to see some men, hopefully, right?
Hopefully.
It's like
that's not the purpose of the cruise, but I'll be glad to make it the purpose.
He'd be scoping, like he'd probably just like, where's your binoculars? Anyway, I need to check those out. I'm like, I'll be calling every day.
I can find some fresh young seamen.
Young seamen. Oh. He's like, how you doing? And are you gonna go to the casino when you're on the ship?
Hopefully, if I can find some money.
You always gotta find some sugar daddy. All right, people, we got donations. Gotta get Dewey some money so you can win some money for this cruise, and you can go on another one. Anything. So you're going on Princess, right? Princess what?
Yep, Enchanted Princess.
This is the first time, right?
On that ship, yeah.
That's
be my third time on a Princess.
Oh, you should be a diva by now. Just saying. But no, that's like, I'm gonna tell people because I have surgery and everything. I get surgery on the 17th and anything. I have to have spleen surgery, like old school surgery. I don't know how long I'll be in the hospital. I'm hoping she does not keep me for a day. She keeps me more than a day because I'm getting opened up and everything. It's gonna be a big ass scar and everything. And everyone's like, "Are you gonna get a tattoo?" I'm like, "Yeah, I should get a tattoo, a penis on my belly." I don't know if I could. No, I couldn't do that. Anything. So. Oh, okay. This is what my husband says from Tyler Perry. Grief is very living thing. It visits a random. You can't schedule it. And I tried to work it away. That makes sense. Anything you just work away and anything you try and anything you just can't change things. That's the hardest part is, you just got to keep going. That's what he told Oprah. He said, grief does not change you. You just got to keep going and keep plugging away until your time is ready for your time. And it made a lot of sense and everything. So like people don't understand grief, they hide it. Don't hide your grief anymore. Just be who you are. Anyways. I tried to drink it away a little bit myself. I tried to drink it away. Okay. I think it's important thing not being hiding. Danny, I think the important thing is not hiding it away. Yeah, well, I hide it because sometimes you just gotta deep down, you gotta keep it who we are,
The best thing I did, because when my mom died, that hit me hard, and I grieved for probably well over a year. And there was a major difference in me during that time. And then when my wife died, of course, I grieved for that. But I think the best thing I did for that is like 6 months after she died, I got my ass out and went and did a cruise. And that made me realize, hey, life goes on. I've got things I want to do. I've got ambitions and goals and stuff. And that helped get me out of my funk better than anything. Otherwise, I'd have been probably dragging that on for a long time, too.
You wouldn't have an Indian penis in your mouth, though.
No, not at that time. I didn't. But
no, now I'm just saying now.
But now, yes.
You're like, hello, peanuts. I cried more for Anthony. What?
Bourdain.
Who's that? I don't know who that is. I don't know. I cried more for Anthony Bourdain. I don't know who that is. I don't know. Anyways, okay. So, and then we come back on the end of the month and everything, and hopefully, what are we gonna do?
Bobby's supposed to be our topic that night, but he's not available. But we need to get some questions available and send to him so he can.
Does anyone? Okay, before we all let you go tonight, does anyone have questions for the trans before? Because we would like to hear your guys' input before we leave tonight. we want to hear a couple questions for a trend so we can actually. I know we'll get the questions, but you guys have questions and all that. Oh, dude, are you trying to play with the caterpillar or are you playing with the yellow one? I think you were doing something. Didn't lick your shirt, Dewey. You make it into it like a sorry.
Well, Sean told me not to lick it, so I had to.
Oh, jeez. Oh, Anthony was a celebrity chef. Oh, celebrity chef. Nothing. I will that the night of nothing off the topic. Oh my goodness! Really?
If you think of questions, send us, because the person we wanted to be a guest is on the world cruise, and it'd be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning his time on the cruise, so he's not available. So we're gonna send him questions, and hopefully he'll video, because he does a YouTube channel. Hopefully he'll video record some responses, and then we can kind of center a show around some of his experiences and stuff. And we can't talk to him in person.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to get a hold of Kate, and then Pride is in June and everything. We're gonna lift off on that. We're gonna like the first weekend. What are we gonna do? We're going to do dirty laundry.
Yeah.
We have Corey and Mel, Pussycat, and then we have Amanda and Larry, and then my husband and I are going to be on it, and our host is going to be Mr. Dewey. So if anyone wants to sign up and anything for it and anything, please let us know and anything. It's called Dirty Laundry. I want to not do it every 6 weeks. I want to do it more than that. I already know the questions, so I'm already going to beat this bitch and anything.
You don't know the questions yet.
No, I don't know the questions. If I did, I would listen. Who's like, and everything. So
I just made them up during the show last. I didn't make them up. I selected them during the show last week, and nobody has seen the list yet, nor does anybody have access. I have enough questions for 3 games, so we can have 3 months or however often we want to do the game.
I think we should do it throughout Pride Month in June. I think it'd be fun, dirty laundry. So if anyone wants to sign up,
we can get enough couples to do it. That would be great.
Oh, I'll get them. I have couples everywhere. I have couples on Facebook. I'll just have to message them listen, do you want to get some dirty laundry out? Let's get it out. Anything, and they actually get to know their wives or husbands and all that. So like I said before, the winner gets a $25 gift card and anything from me, from Amazon and everything. So who wins it gets it. And Billy, I'm just saying that to you, dear. No, you cannot win the prize. It's only I know you would love to. I know you would want to win that $25 gift card, and we can keep it to ourselves, and we can go buy something pretty and everything. If a banana cleaner, no, not a banana cleaner, Larry. Those banana cleaners are expensive and everything. How about this? I'll get you a banana, then I'll get you a fan, then you can clean your own cleaner that way. How about that? Will that work, Dewey? We can get him a dozen of bananas and everything. My mommy says hi. She wanted to be here tonight, but had plans again. What is she doing? Crystal Susie is busy bird. We're all here there one day. Oh yeah. So what? I can't win the prize? I'm giving wrong answers then? No, you're not gonna give wrong answers and anything. If you give it the prize, dear, I will make it out. No. No, I know him. He likes to win.
Don't complain about the prizes. I don't get any prizes because I'm the host.
No, okay. So, yeah. How about this, Dewey? If we win, I'm going to give you a $25 gift card. You're the hostess. How about that? Will that work? I will donate my $25 if we win. If Billy and I win.
Well, if you guys win, you have just as much chance as anybody else because you will not know the questions ahead.
Exactly. My husband knows me and I know him, so that's the hard part. Isn't anything.
And I've tried to pick questions that are not necessarily tied to any certain couple or type or gender or anything. I tried to pick questions that were fairly neutral so anybody can actually come up with an answer for them.
Oh, Amanda's like, I want a GC for sex toys. What the hell is a GC? I agree. What the heck then? I'll slip you 20.
Gift card.
Did you hear that? Oh, gift card. I want a gift card for sex toys. Oh, you want a gift card for sex toys? Okay. So you can get sex toys on Amazon and anything, but take me a while. But I'll slip. Did you hear that? My husband's gonna slip you $20.
Yeah, I'll hold him to it.
Yeah, do you hear that?
I keep thinking I ought to put a tip box by my front door. So
there you go. He wants the answers. He says that's what
it's going to cost you more than $20.
It's going to cost you $100.
And I can't tell you the answers. I just know the questions. The answers are up to the contestants.
He says he just asked me. He's like, "How much do we?" He needs some casino money. He needs casino money.
About 20,000, maybe.
You boys slipping 20? That's male prostitution. Yeah, and Canada, it's like, if that's like double for you and anything, right? Because like it's like, or like no, it's like $10 more than Canada. Because Canada is like what, $10 more than the U.S.
It's not prostitution; it's service appreciation.
Yeah, so it's like you gotta tip the hostess and everything. You make sure you gotta do good.
Yeah, the only tip I get is if they come back again.
There you go. But yes, it's a donation. He said it's a donation. It's a donation. It's laughing. He'll make it up to you. And 20 uses the 27 and oh no. Oh, it's going up now. It's a $27.30. Now we'll triple that.
$20 US is $27.30 Canadian.
My God, I better not go to Canada for a long time because that's expensive to go there that trip and everything.
You got that right, Sean.
Dewey gets a lot of the deposits. And I think it's a lot of deposits. Oh my God, do you see that? It gets a lot of deposits.
I just need to find a way to cash in on it.
Tell you, huh? Oh my God, my nose. Anyways, all right, you guys, I haven't eaten all night because I need to eat before it gets too late or my acid reflux will act up tomorrow and I don't want that. Anything. So you guys, thanks for coming tonight. Anything. Thanks for letting us tell a little bit about us. And thank you, Dewey, for letting us a little bit about you.
Well, no problem. I enjoy it. It was a fun night. I'm glad we can be impromptu with all these weeks that keep getting messed up. So
I know we got to get these damn trans girls together. I'm like, listen, little shits and everything. Quit making excuses and all that. Go eat, Danny. Yes, I know I need to eat. I need it. Banana cream sounds. I actually have banana cream, whipping cream in my fridge. That sounds good. I'm gonna just eat that. It's like I already drank my milkshake and everything. It's all gone and everything. It's like, God dang. He just gave me a freaking medium size. I usually get a large, but no.
Well, I'll go hit the app and see if my friend still wants to come over.
Oh, good luck, Dewey.
I had a friend that wanted to come over, but it was shortly before the show, so I didn't think we had time to do anything. So I told him he'd have to wait till afterwards.
Like Larry says, ooh la la.
Oh, I'm thinking a lot more than ooh la la.
He needs something down his throat and something is a little like I don't know. Anyways. Okay. Anyway.
Well, everybody, thanks for listening to us tonight and
stay safe out there.
For your input as well.
Like I always tell people this and everything. This is my metaphor and everything. Lick it, stamp it, and do it. That's all I say. Lick it, stamp it. Let me guess, Dewey. Last 45 minutes?
My longest is 8 hours.
8 hours. Yeah, see, he gave me 8 hours. And he's like, I could go longer than that if I wanted to.
Well, I would have gone longer, but I had a doctor appointment to go to. So, yeah, you have homework, Larry. You need to think up questions.
Yeah, you have homework. No, their homework. Like Amanda and
they got homework. They got to think up questions for us. So
Larry's song is only lasting 5 minutes. Oh, she's like, okay. So your guys' homework.
We've only got one question so far. So,
what do we give our homework? No homework for us. Let's see here. You guys have a week off and anything, so we can actually enjoy ourselves because I can actually relax from surgery. But your homework is. I told you, did you like next time you're supposed to get costumes and anything? You're supposed to come on now. Anything. So it's date night. Yeah, I know it's date night for you guys and anything, but you gotta do something and anything. What should we give them for homework, Dewey?
Well, you only lasted 5
minutes.
5 minutes last week. Let's see if you can make it up to 10 this one.
Homework is you know what they should do? they should tie each other up.
Oh, there you go.
Amanda,
And video it.
you should Amanda, you should tie him up. And then you sit on his face for a good 45 minutes, and then you just tie him up, and then it's like, okay, give him like 5 minutes. He's like, I go. Say good night. See you later. The whole 45. Yeah, you should give him 45 minutes of punishment and anything on wax, candle wax, or something. I don't think so. I think Larry, you were the one who was going the last 5 minutes and anything, young lady. Okay, done. 45 minutes. Time up for 45 minutes and anything, and why you can watch your TV. How about that? Watch your show. There's your homework. Let them, when you're watching your shows, tie him up and he can't be on no electronics. He can't be on anything, and he can't have no TV. Let him just tie him up and anything, and then you smack his wiener around. That's how I say. That's what I would say.
I just realized I forgot to play our intro video on this show.
Did you forget the intro today?
No, I went straight from the countdown to the disclaimer. I forgot the intro video.
Oh, it's okay. Next time.
Oh, well.
No porn, Larry. You get nothing. You get your punishment is basically you get tied up for and then she watches her shows and anything while you're tied up in the bed and anything. Or she could put you in the tree, tie you up on a tree and anything if you want.
Yes, Sean, it's a wonderful video, and I forgot all about it. I'm so sorry. I'll make sure not to do that again. But I will use your exit video tonight. So
I worked I worked hard. Okay. What do I get? What do I get? You don't get nothing, Larry, because you only last her 5 minutes. That's it. You don't get nothing. She watches her TV shows in peace and quiet for 45 minutes. So actually, I would give her like 3 hours. I like these assignments. Okay. No spanking, no punishment. Speaking of punishment, Dewey. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So when you're watching your shows, just no watching. He can't watch anything. No watching porn, no nothing.
Well, you all have a good couple of weeks, and we'll see you in 2 weeks from tonight.
Yep, and I should be back to normal, hopefully. And it was a little bit of pain, but we'll see what happens and anything. But I'll keep everyone posted and anything. I will be on Marco Polo and saying I'm alive and all that. So you guys stay safe out there and stay safe out there.
Yep. And we'll talk to you on the networks. Have a good evening and a good week. Bye-bye, y'all.